Now, I really want to stress the importance of resisting the urge to add on more and more and more cardio. The problem when you start to increase your cardio and feel like you need to do more just because you need that instant feedback of like the sweat and you're breathing heavy and your heart rate and it's like the steady motion of like intensity, is that you have to keep layering it on. All right. So when you set yourself up with a amount of cardio and then you gradually increase it, in order for you to continue to reap the benefits of it or use it for a fat loss tool, which is a mistake, okay? Using that specifically for fat loss. I'm about to sneeze. How is the sneeze deciding it wants to show up right now? When you do that, you are then cueing your body to then have a new set point for your energy expenditure, really like how much energy you're putting out with your cardiovascular system. So if you keep increasing that, it will be a point of diminishing returns, right? You can't just keep layering it on and then doing 2, 3, 4 hours of cardio a day. Like you wouldn't get anything done and you would look like soggy spaghetti. Okay. Your body you wouldn't have much shape and you would lose a lot of muscle. So my hellbent mission on this planet is to essentially reverse engineer the programming that we've had in our brains from, the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, where it's women do aerobics and calisthenics only and men are in the weight room, right? That's not a real thing. Okay. That was for, back in the time when that was what we were doing, but we're not doing that anymore because we want to grow old gracefully. We want strong bones. We want to have shape to our muscles and tone and be sculpted. And that is created by weight training. That is not created by your cardio. Okay. Weight training is your foundation. Nutrition is your pillar to strip away body fat. And cardio is to condition your cardiovascular system for several reasons. But one is to help you in your weight training, so that way you aren't dying in your sets, right? You can recover between sets a little bit more efficiently when your cardiovascular system is running at optimal speed. And also it is an additional bonus of fat burn or calorie burn, but that should not be exclusively what you use to drop your body fat. In a single session of cardio, let's just say the 20 minutes that you did, or if you go do a 20-minute, elliptical session or cerebral session, you're going to build a few hundred calories at best, okay? In 20, 30, 40 minutes. Just depends on many things, age, intensity level, all the things, essentially how good you are at effectively burning calories. And at some point, you are going to hit a wall with that. Okay. You won't continue to progress because unless you add more, then you're going to have to keep layering more. Okay. So my goal is that you resist the urge to add on more and more and more cardio. When you are done with your cardio session, in my example, let's say you burn 300 calories. Your heart rate is going to be elevated a little bit after that cardio session. I can't remember these specifics. It's kind of varies for each individual person, but let's just say your heart rate and your metabolism is going to be elevated for burning fat or calories for, let's just say, a few hours, right? Then the effects of that, they go away, right? Until you do your next cardio session. With weight training, this is why we say weight training is the magic sauce for you to stay lean mostly year round if you are watching your diet and not have to layer on tons of cardio, right? That's the goal, is that you're not having to layer on unless you enjoy it and you want to add it in, and it kind of helps with, the entire goal, but it should not be your focus. Because weight training, when you are weight training, yes, you are not going to burn as many calories in that isolated workout as you would in like a spin class or a boot camp class. But the effects of your weight training will last far beyond your cardio session. So what I mean by that is when you're putting on new muscle tissue, your body is going to burn more calories at rest. You're not going to do that with cardio. Cardio isn't adding in any muscle tissue for you to increase your metabolic rate or your capacity for burning fat. So that is why weight training trumps cardio in the long haul for keeping you leaner as you grow older and in general. Okay. So standing on my soapbox here to tell you, if you are going to add in cardio, you want to add in the right kind of cardio that complements your weight training. And for a lot of people, that's going to be something that isn't super high impact. It's something that you can recover from really well, right? It's not going to hinder your weight training sessions, and you're not going to be living on a cardio machine, right? So zone 2 cardio there are different zones of cardio, right? You have zone 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now with zone 2, this is going to be a nice, I call this the Goldilocks spot, right? This is like, you're not dying doing like HIIT and sprints and like interval training or anything like that, which if you want to and intermittently sprinkle that in, that's totally okay. But you got to make sure you do it appropriately with your other training sessions, right? But zone 2 cardio is going to be the key to getting you in that fat burning zone while you're in that cardio session. Okay, so there is a link somewhere here around this video, and you will see a calculator on there. Okay, now training in zone 2 cardio is shown to help boost your endurance a little bit right throughout that session. You will feel it. It transfers day to day. I do exclusively zone 2 cardio for probably the last year, 2 years maybe, is exclusively what I do. It's what I have my athletes do when they're getting ready to compete and they're getting lean. They're not doing crazy HIIT or anything like that. I mean, I have a few rare exceptions where they'll do it for a little while up until a certain point, and then I cut it out altogether. But this is going to be the zone that you want to stay in with your heart rate, where your body is going to burn the most fat and carbohydrates and use it as fuel. Okay. Now, the easy calculation for this is you take 220, the number 220, and you deduct your current age from that, okay? Then from there, you're going to multiply it by 60 or 70%. And essentially, you want to decide, do you want to work a little bit harder? If you do, you want to multiply it by 70. If you want to start off on a little bit easier, you're going to multiply it by 60. And you'll get a range, right? So I just suggest you multiply it by both, and you'll get a range. So for example, my calculation, I am 46. So I'm going to take 220, I'm going to minus 46, and then I'm going to multiply it by 60, and then I'm going to multiply it by 70. Now that is going to give me a number of 129 to 140. So now what I know is, thanks to my little tracker, my smartwatch, when I get on a machine to do intentional cardio, I'm going to try to keep my heart rate within that range. And when I'm in that range, I know I'm in zone 2 cardio, and I'm essentially knocking off one of my goals, right? I'm checking off one of the goals is staying in that heart rate zone. So if you don't want to do math, I don't blame you. Find the link, click on it, plug all your numbers in there, and it'll give you the calculations. That's the cheat code. Arm yourself with that knowledge. Now, I can hear you already. I can hear you saying, well, I like to keep my heart rate at 170 or 160. Now, if that is not the target for you in a zone 2 cardio, you're going to be tapping into a different zone. You're going to be going into more of a anaerobic state, and the fat burning is a little bit different in that zone. So going in for zone 2 in this challenge, and honestly, if you're wanting to change the shape of your body and your primary focus is the foundation of weight training, zone 2 is where it's at.